or because of your position in the church. Holiness don't come through that. Holiness is a lifestyle. Holiness is a condition of the heart that's manifested through your physical life, that's manifested through your conduct. Holiness and righteousness is a condition of the heart, dealing with your actions, dealing with your inward man, dealing with your outward actions, dealing with your motives, dealing with your intentions. That's what holiness is. And that's what God has called us to. And it's not hard to achieve when you come the right way. When you come through Jesus. We're not coming through the works of the law. Circumcision and what food we eat and what's clean and what's unclean and out of the food that we eat. See, God had to straighten all that up. That's the part of the law he got rid of for the Gentiles. Now, you got to watch out when people trying to separate the Old Testament and the New Testament. You got to watch out when people trying to separate the Old Covenant from the New Covenant. Not because there's no separation, there is. But most of the time, people trying to separate the old from the new is because they trying to justify sin and they trying to make provision for sin. And it's because they don't stand for holiness. Because God said, I am the Lord thy God, I change not. Then he said he the same Lord yesterday, today, and forever. The only difference between the old covenant, God was worried about the rituals. I ain't going to say worried about, but they was involved in a lot of ritual sacrifices, ceremonial law. And it was more about the outward stuff, circumcision of the flesh, what foods you can and can't eat. But the morality of the law never changed. If it was wrong then, it's wrong now. Homosexuality was a sin in the Old Testament. It's a sin in the New Testament. Stealing was a sin in the Old Testament. It's a sin in the New Testament. Lying was a sin in the Old. It's a sin in the New. Adultery was a sin in the Old. It's a sin in the New. Killing, stealing, worshiping other gods, not loving your neighbor, not loving God, all that stuff is still the moral law. He didn't do away with the morality. He didn't do away with the moral law. But everything went from external to internal. See, now in the Old Testament, he wrote the law on stone tablets. In the New Covenant, he write his law on your heart. He don't just say don't commit adultery. He went from don't commit adultery to don't even look upon a woman with lust. Instead of just looking at what you do, now he's looking at the motives behind it. Instead of just looking at what you say, now he's looking at the motives behind it. And instead of all them animal sacrifices, the sacrifice is Jesus. And instead of having to go through a prophet or a priest, now you can go to God directly yourself. Instead of the Ark of the Covenant, now we are the temple of the Lord. Now our bodies are the temple of the Lord. Instead of having to get to the Ark of the Covenant to be in his presence, now we are arks of the covenant. His presence lives in us. But the old and the new does by no means excuse sin. Then he told Peter, call not that which is common. What did he say? Call not that which is common unclean, or something like that. That which is unclean, call not thou common. It ain't about foods and the dietary law no more. But it don't hurt to eat healthy and have discipline in your food diet either. Cause he said, for real, you can still eat yourself to death and be a glutton. God ain't called you to that either. The Spirit ain't leading you in that. You still gotta keep this flesh under subjection. Because if you let your flesh have its way in one area, you'll let your flesh have its way in another area. You still called to a life of discipline. So even though it's not a sin to eat certain foods, you still need to have discipline in your physical diet. I say that. And it's the same God. Everything became more intimate under the new covenant, though. God was distant. There was a distance between God and the average person. But under the new covenant, through faith in Christ, through making a commitment of your life to him, you can have an intimate relationship with him. You don't have to go through a priest, go through a prophet. You can have an intimate relationship with Christ. But if you're not ready to turn from your sin, if you're not ready to come out of the world and be ye separate, if you're not ready to be, if you're not ready to come out of the world and be different and be separate, and you're not ready to turn from your sin, then ain't no point in you even coming to God right now. You might as well just ask God to make you ready, because you got to be ready. And God ain't going to strong arm you. You know, God ain't going to make you live holy. If you want to live holy, he'll enable you to live holy, but he ain't going to make you. If you're really trying to live holy, then he'll send the word to straighten you up. He'll send the word to correct you and point you in the right direction and let you know what you need to do. If you're trying to live for God, he'll give you direction. He'll enable you. He'll empower you if you're trying to live for him. But if you ain't ready to live for God, ain't no point in trying to get saved if you ain't trying to live for him. And if he didn't want you to live for him, if he didn't want you to live holy, if he didn't want you to live for him, then right after you confess Christ, right after you get saved, he'll just take you to heaven. But see, it was God's purpose that we live for him. That's why you get saved, and he allows you to live a life after you got saved. It was God's purpose for you to live for him. And he don't want to be represented by somebody who just live in any kind of way. He want to be represented by somebody who lives their life according to his word, not somebody who trying to reinterpret the scriptures and make wrong right and make right wrong and make evil good and call good evil. He want to be represented by people who are living their life like Christ lived his life, living according to his word. Place his word as their supreme authority. If you ain't got no intentions of living your life by the Bible, ain't no point in calling yourself saved. Ain't no point in trying to get saved. Ain't no point in trying to have anything to do with God. If you're not committed to Jesus, if you ain't committed to living your life according to his word, you're playing games. And if you're not preaching the whole counsel of God, you're playing games. False shepherds and all this kind of stuff. But I thank God for the real ones, because it's a lot of real ones out there. It's just a whole lot of fake ones too. But I think it's more fake ones than real ones. Or the fake ones are the ones that got the biggest platforms. Because I'm willing to step out on a limb and say 9 out of the 10 people on TV are not real workers, are not real men of God, not real men and women of God. I'll say it. That's how I feel. God, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. God, forgive me. But the way I feel, 9 out of 10 of these people on these big Christian networks, they not real people of God. They not doing the real work of the ministry that God has called his people to do. A lot of these people have made covenants with the devil and you don't know it. A lot of these people have made covenants with the devil and sold a soul, and the works that go on in their ministry are not done by the Spirit, but they done by devils, by the power of demons. That's why you can't just follow miracles. See, the devil got some power too. In Revelation, he talk about the Antichrist. He say that's how many people got deceived. Give me that. Give me Revelations. See, you can't just follow miracles. Now, God's people do miracles too, by the hand of God, by the Spirit. He say them that believe they gonna speak in other tongues. They gonna cast out devils. They gonna lay hands on the sick and they gonna be healed. I believe that. Matter of fact, I know that. But just because you see a sign or a wonder, don't mean that's the real people of God. You got people who done made covenants with the devil, and they got power to work miracles, but they gonna lead you astray with their teaching. Matter of fact, Deuteronomy 13, he said that. He said if they have and matter of fact, you got people whose whole ministry is not by the Spirit of God, but it's through the working of familiar spirits. The same one, the same psychic you go to, the same tarot card reader. See, there's demons that's assigned to your life that watch you, that watch your life. And when you go to that psychic, those demons that's watching your life and watching the way you live, they communicate with the spirit, with the demons working in that psychic's life. They communicate with the demon working through the person reading them tarot cards, and that's how they know your business. God wasn't in that. See, they can divine to you. That's why the Bible is against diviners and wizards and enchantments, because you got the power of God, you got the power of darkness. And there's a lot of things that God does that Satan can imitate, but he can't save your soul, though. Because everything, all the power of Satan works to take your soul. All the power of God is so that your soul can be saved. And all the power of Satan is so your soul can be lost. So the end result is directly opposed to each other. But Satan can do a lot of the things God does. Because Satan got some power. I never said the devil didn't have no power. But he don't have as much power as God has. But the difference between the real people of God and the people of Satan, the people of Satan want your soul. That's the work of the devil. He wants your soul. The devil ain't going to tell you to live right. The devil ain't going to tell you to turn to Jesus and turn from your sin. The devil is going to try to incorporate sin into your relationship with God and tell you it's okay. The devil going every 5 minutes, the devil going to try to get you to sow a seed. The devil's workers want your money because their reward comes in this life. See, after this life, they going to lose their soul. They going to burn in hell. So the devil's workers want your money because all they have is in this life. But the real workers of God, we trying to build an inheritance in the life to come. We laying up rewards in the life to come, not in this life. We laboring up for and we laying up rewards in the next life. We ain't trying to have everything in this life. We receive the blessings of God in this